Focus. The lowest rank. Basic laborers, farmers, and the struggle for survival. Imagine waking up in a world where the dirt beneath your fingernails is not a sign of a day's work, but the mark of your very existence. You are a peasant, the lowest rank in the human hierarchy. You are the foundation upon which every cathedral, castle, and crown is built. You are a basic laborer, a farmer, a worker of the earth. Your life is not measured by gold or titles, but by the harvest and the sun. As a peasant, your legal status is often that of a serf. You aren't quite a slave, but you aren't a free citizen either. You belong to the manor. You are tied to the land by a complex web of feudal duties. Your day begins in the blue hour, that freezing moment before the sun breaks the horizon. Your home is a cruck-frame hut, a simple structure made of mud, straw, and animal dung, wattle, and daub. There is no chimney. The smoke from the central hearth seeps through the thatch, turning the air thick and hazy. You share the space with your family, and during the winter, your most precious livestock, their body heat, is your only heater. Your work is the definition of basic labor. You don't have iron machinery. You have a wooden plow tipped with a bit of iron if you're lucky. You spend 12 to 14 hours a day in the fields. You sow wheat, barley, and rye. But you are not farming for your own profit. You work the demesne, the Lord's private land, for 3 days a week without pay. This is your rent. The remaining days are spent on your small strip of land, trying to grow enough to keep your children from starving. Every resource is taxed. If you want to grind your grain into flour, you must use the Lord's mill and pay him a portion. If you want to bake bread, you must use the Lord's oven and pay him again. The diet of a peasant is a monotonous cycle of pottage, a thick, grain-based stew flavored with whatever herbs or vegetables you can scavenge from your small garden. Meat is a rarity reserved for the great feast. You drink small beer, a low-alcohol ale, because the water in the village well is often contaminated by the very animals you tend. Yet despite the hardship, your life is deeply communal. You are the feet of society. Without your labor, the knights cannot fight, the merchants cannot trade, and the kings cannot rule. You are the essential spark of life in the kingdom.
Focus. Free citizens, craftsmen, and small traders. The world changes when you leave the mud of the fields and enter the stone gates of a city. You are now a commoner. You have moved up the pyramid to become a free citizen. You are no longer bound to a lord. You are bound to your craft and your community. This rank is made up of the craftsmen, the artisans, and the small traders who keep the pulse of the medieval economy beating. As a commoner, you possess something a peasant can only dream of: liberty. In the city, the air is said to make you free. If a serf escapes to a city and stays for a year and a day, they are legally free. You are a specialist. Perhaps you are a blacksmith, a weaver, a carpenter, or a stonemason. Your life is defined by the guild system. You didn't just wake up one day and decide to be a craftsman. You spent 7 years as an apprentice, living in a master's house, learning the secrets of the trade. You then became a journeyman, traveling from city to city to perfect your skills before finally producing your masterpiece to earn the title of master. The life of a commoner is loud, smelly, and bywens. Your home is also your workshop. The bottom floor opens to the street where you display your wares and haggle with neighbors. You are a small trader, managing a modest business. You aren't rich, but you are comfortable. You eat white bread instead of rye. You wear wool dyed in bright colors like madder red or what blue. But city life is a gamble. The streets are narrow and filthy. Fire is a constant threat that can level a neighborhood in hours. Disease spreads through the crowded tenements like wildfire. Yet as a commoner, you represent the birth of the middle class. You are the hands of the world. You build the cathedrals that reach for heaven and the ships that sail the seas. You have a voice in the town square. You have the pride of a man who owns his own tools and answers to no master but the law of the city.
Focus. Landowners, aristocracy, and people with titles. Now the world becomes one of stone walls, high towers, and ancient bloodlines. You are a noble. You belong to the aristocracy, the elite class of landowners and people with titles. You were born into this rank, and your entire existence is built on the concept of chivalry and lineage. You are the chest of the body politic, the heart that provides the strength and the protection. To be a noble is to be a landowner in the feudal system. The king owns the land, but he grants it to you in exchange for your loyalty and your military service. You are a duke, a count, or a baron. You do not work in the traditional sense. In fact, for a noble to engage in trade or manual labor is to lose their honor. Your job is twofold: administration and warfare. You are the judge of your territory, holding court to settle disputes among your peasants and commoners. But your primary identity is that of a warrior. From the age of 7, you were trained in the art of the sword, the lance, and the horse. The life of a noble is a grand, expensive performance. You live in a castle, not just a home, but a fortress and a seat of government. Your days are spent hunting in your private forests or practicing at the tilt yard. Your nights are filled with banquets and courtly intrigue. You eat the finest meats: venison, boar, and peacock, served with rich sauces. But this luxury is a mask for constant stress. You are in a permanent state of political chess. You must manage your vassals, satisfy your king, and keep an eye on your rivals. A single mistake in a battle or a slip of the tongue in the royal court can lead to attainder, the loss of your title, your land, and your head. You are the guardian of the tradition, the armed force of the law, and the owner of the earth.
Focus. Wealthier traders and business owners. As we climb higher, the smell of wood smoke and iron is replaced by the scent of exotic spices and expensive parchment. You are now a merchant. You have transcended the local trade of the commoner to become a wealthy trader and a business owner. You are the architect of the kingdom's wealth. While the noble owns the land, you own the gold. A merchant's life is defined by risk and global reach. You don't spend your days at a forge or a loom, you spend them in a counting house.
You are a business owner with a network that stretches across borders. You deal in high-value goods, silk from China, pepper from India, furs from the Baltic, and wine from France. You are the one who organizes the great caravans and the merchant fleets. When you invest in a voyage, you are gambling your entire fortune. If the ship returns, you might triple your wealth. If it is lost to a storm or pirates, you could be ruined in a single afternoon. Because of this risk, merchants develop the first systems of banking and insurance. You are the new power. You live in a stone mansion filled with luxuries that even some nobles cannot afford. Tapestries, glass windows, and spices that are worth their weight in gold. However, you exist in a state of social tension. The church calls your pursuit of profit a sin, and the nobility looks down on you as nouveau riche. They see you as a grubby money changer, yet they are the first ones to come to you when they need a loan to pay for their lavish lifestyles or their endless wars. As a merchant, you are the stomach of the world. You circulate the resources and the wealth that allow the kingdom to grow. You are the bridge between cultures. You are the one who brings news of distant lands and new technologies. You are beginning to prove that a man's worth isn't just in his bloodline, but in his ledger.